for consumers in packaging that is safe, affordable, scalable, and has the lowest carbon footprint among available options. The consumer preference is clearly trending towards brands and businesses that are environmentally responsible. Mr. Amol Lovalekar, Senior VP, Supply Chain and Manufacturing, Hygienic Research Institute, will give us a view of the consumer mindset on sustainable packaging. On the other hand, there is an issue of plastic pollution that's emerging as a huge challenge. India plastic waste taking the bull by the horns. Over to you, Mr. Amol.
First half in sustainability, etc. And post these delicious meals, I'm talking about the sustainability. I'll try to be a bit, I'll not say interactive because it's a large audience, but certain paradox to make a food for thought, because it's not a simple topic, first of all. So when we talk about sustainability, most of the time we talked about the environment as a pillar. But if you see, there are two more pillars which are important, which is social and economic. So we'll come back to you at the end that what these two pillars, normally all three pillars has been taken as a silos, as a verticals, when we talk about sustainability. Now if you see a paradox, sorry for that technical thing. So if you see paradox, today I think top leaders, what consumer talks about and what consumer thinks about and what brands think about. Maybe other one little statistics. How many marketers are there in this room? Any marketing? Not a single hand or maybe few hands. Okay, I think that's the second paradox. That they do decide multiple things, and sometimes simple things like they always fancy about the big packs, and then sometimes have a air, and we transport a lot of airs during our supply chain, making our supply chain more carbon footprint oriented. So let's go to the next thing. So this is what Indian consumer is. Though we talk a lot, we talk about Gen Z, they're very eager to know a sustainable packaging and all those things. While if you see
like yourselves, I will share a perspective which is more upstream as well. But the broader message that I want to leave with you is, I think in this room, also in others that have been part of, recycling and plastic waste is considered more of an issue, a challenge that the industry must overcome. I think you guys are all right, but for me, I think it's also an opportunity. It's a tremendous growth opportunity, and the reason for that is, we also talk about it in the report which Angelo spoke about, 75% of India is yet to be built. We are a 3 trillion economy right now. End of the decade, we are expected to be 10 trillion, 2040, you pick your number. A majority of the India is yet to be built. So we have a unique chance in our hands to build it right, to design products which are designed to be sustainable, which are designed to be recyclable, and hence we don't have the problems which most of our Western countries, peers in the Western countries are facing. So with that thought, let me glide through some of the pages that I have here, and then happy to address some of the questions towards the end with Angelo and with Amol. Right. So as I spoke about, we need to play on the front foot. To start with a bit of a global perspective, whenever plastics is spoken about, we talk about multiple issues. Plastics waste, end of use recycling. Circularity is one of it. A lot of the ocean waste, a lot of the plastic waste ends up in ocean, creating a lot of ocean pollution. You have GHG emissions, you have resource depletion because a good ton of plastics that we are wasting. It's also a share of resources that is actually being dumped. And then toxicity is an emerging topic, more so in the Western countries where we're talking about microplastics. But when we are talking about recycling, it's not just one issue, it is taking care of multiple issues in one go.
A very good afternoon to all of you. First of all, I would like to congratulate the organizers of this conference, the sponsors of this conference, of this event. and all the distinguished participants who are at this moment present in this room. I'm thankful to all the polymer manufacturers, to the film manufacturers, the packaging manufacturers, the brand owners, the recyclers, the think tanks, who all have gathered here today to talk about one of the most pressing issues in regard to one of the most important sectors, that is plastics. I'm here to talk about the dimensions that relate to the use of plastics that is sustainable, that promotes circularity, that promotes sustainable development along with all sectors of economy. Since morning, we have been hearing from all the experts, many CEOs, people who have been working in this sector, particularly the flexible packaging, the specialty films, about the importance and the utility of the plastics in packaging. And I concur with all of you that plastics as a product is one of the most important products that plays its critical role in a tremendous way in ensuring food security, water security, health and well-being, apart from its utility in various sectors.
Multi-layer films have different polymers, so they are not compatible. They have different melting points, so the recyclate has very poor properties. Secondly, mechanical recycling per se cannot remove the printing inks. The printing inks produce volatile organic compounds, odors. It leads to discoloration of the resin, and the pigments react, oxidize, and they provide degradation products. So it is unfit for food contact applications. So more the thermal recycling, more the number of extrusions you have, the polymer chains break, and the mechanical properties of the polymer degrade further. Similar is with the additives. There is a buildup of additives in the polymer.
It's a pleasure to be here. At ExxonMobil, we've been doing our advanced recycling in Baytown now for just over 18 months, and we've processed about 30,000 tons of mixed plastic waste. And I think what we would say is if you can mechanically recycle plastic, then you should do so. But there's still a lot of plastic waste that's left over that doesn't have a good end-of-life solution today. And what we see is by taking plastic waste and breaking it back down into the building blocks that are the same as the fossil-based feedstocks that you normally use to make plastics, you can create circularity. When you do that, we're using a pyrolysis process, and so a number of the impurities, I wouldn't say all of them, but many impurities, especially hydrocarbon-based, will break down in the same way that polymer chains will break down in the reactor. And once you've done that, what we see is with many of the solid-based additives that go in, you're producing gas, liquids, and a solid material, and we see where those impurities start to end up.
India has a long history of recycling post-consumer PET waste into the fiber, whether it's a post-industrial waste or it's a post-consumer waste. So now, due to the regulations and the brand owner commitments, there is a massive shift which is happening from fiber grade to the food grade, mainly for the food grade packaging. So there are two major aspects. One is this packaging is directly related with the consumers, so the consumer safety is the utmost important. And the second thing is basically the FSSAI, as far as the India is concerned. The FSSAI has issued now the guidelines for making the post-consumer PET suitable again for the recycling for the food contact. There are very stringent guidelines, and those guidelines are again being amended considering the wide variety of post-consumer waste. So when this particular panel has started working on framing the standard, and we are aware that this is the first kind of a standard globally being made for the food contact application with the recycled PET. So the focus was made on three major things. One, the first one is the traceability, because whether it's an Indian regulation or whether it's a US FDA or...
Let me thank first to the Elite Plus and to Mr. Pillai for inviting me to share about the standardization. Sometimes standardization and regulations are all very boring topic, and this is a post-lunch session. I will try to inform some of the standards which are available, but always it happened, particularly in case of recycling, that general perception is that there is no standard available, but it may be there. So before addressing the questions what Mr. Pillai has asked me, I'll just give a background that for recycling, guideline for recycling and recovery, way back in 2008, ISO Technical Committee, there is ISO Technical Committee 61 in plastic. They have published guideline for recycling and recovery in 2008. That is ISO 15270. That was a basic guideline, and India actively participated in the formulation of that guideline. And respected Director Environment also, just he was talking about circular economy. So for circular economy also new ISO Technical Committee has been created, and they have also published the general guidelines. So only thing is that these are, many of the standardization activities are work in progress type, but we cannot say that there are no standard available. So I'll just give, because time constraint is there, I will try to apprise all the distinguished delegates of this conference and to the panel